Glad to have you with us this Wednesday evening. I'm Shannon Ogden.
And I'm Jessica Porter. An inside look tonight at testimony from a doctor that could change the entire course of a criminal case.
Denver 7 Investigates dug through hundreds of court documents to uncover why this doctor determined the defendant unfit to stand trial. Now, last night at 6, we told you about Guillermo Ramirez, accused of driving drunk and killing 2 people in a crash.
Tonight, Denver 7 investigative reporter Natalie Chuck is revealing what came out of court that has victims in this case concerned. Natalie?
Shannon and Jessica, so many questions left unanswered for victims in this case, like how exactly Colorado's competency system works and whether it is working. You're about to hear a lot of back and forth between attorneys and a doctor. It will outline the complexity of competency evaluations, but ultimately the judge will have to decide, does this defendant meet the criteria to walk free?
One person is dead after a fiery crash this morning in Golden.
It all started in 2021, and since then,
it has been a non-stop nightmare.
Thank you, Mom. I love you.
Siblings left without a mom.
She just slowly deteriorated.
And more than 1,000 days later, still left without justice.
The idea that this could all just be dismissed is unacceptable.
In our last investigation, we relied on a stack of VHS tapes to tell this story. This time, we're relying on a stack of papers. Hundreds of pages detailing what happened in a Jefferson County courtroom, what exactly doctors said that might wipe a case completely off the table.
They resented being brought to the stand. They resented being made to explain themselves.
That's how Joseph and Billy Joe Bowman remember this testimony. Multiple doctors explaining why their evaluations eventually concluded that this man, Guillermo Ramirez, is not fit to stand trial.
Ramirez is the one who should be dead. Neely Bowman should still be alive. The fact that she isn't should not go unpunished.
Neely Bowman, their mother, and another woman died after a car crash in Golden more than 3 years ago. Investigators believe Ramirez was at fault, behind the wheel of a car drunk and on drugs, going more than 100 miles per hour. Arrest documents say he didn't stop for a red light.
He is a menace to society. He is a danger to himself and everyone around him.
His interactions with law enforcement after that day didn't stop either. Court records reveal Ramirez was charged with crimes twice in other cases after the crash, both for violating a protection order, but those went nowhere. Dismissed after a doctor for court services decided Ramirez is, quote, incompetent and not restorable.
A person can be incompetent to stand trial and yet not meet criteria to be hospitalized.
You just heard Leora Joseph, the director of the state's Office of Civil and Forensic Mental Health. She can't comment on specific cases, but what she said is very important, because under Colorado law, a judge shall dismiss a case if a defendant is found incompetent and not restorable. So legally, they might not be mentally fit enough to face their charges, but fit enough that
they are not able to be hospitalized.
So how exactly does a doctor make this decision? This transcript is 3 days worth of testimony. In it, once you get past the legal and medical jargon, is a clear explanation. Dr. Trang Walker found Ramirez had an odd manner of speaking and difficulty finding his words, was fidgety, and seemed to have issues with attention. Plus, testimony reveals he was previously diagnosed with ADHD and only attended school through the 10th grade. She also said he did not want to discuss specifics in his case. Ultimately, she had concerns about Ramirez's ability to communicate with his attorney, especially under the stress of a court hearing. In her third and final evaluation, she found him incompetent to proceed and not restorable. But it's her word against prosecutors.
They have proven that in court too with the body cam footage.
In a rare move, the district attorney's office is trying to prove the doctor wrong. Prosecutors believe Ramirez is competent. The transcript shows attorneys played body cam videos of interactions Ramirez had with Denver police. One of them about a year and a half after the crash. A detective lays out what the video shows, Ramirez talking to paramedics after fighting in public. We don't have any of this video because police are not releasing it. But in the words of Dr. Walker, you can see Ramirez in a high-stress situation with officers after being assaulted. And yet he was able to communicate effectively, according to the doctor. When asked if her concerns about Ramirez remain the same after watching the video, the doctor says no, they do not. The juxtaposition between Ramirez's behavior in his evaluations and his behavior recorded on body cam begs prosecutors to ask this about his difficulty communicating. Can it be faked? Do you know? Dr. Walker, I imagine somebody could, but I haven't come across anybody. Prosecutors, you have no mechanism of being able to test them and confirm that. Dr. Walker, correct.
Remember, all of our evaluators, even our contract evaluators, are either psychologists or psychiatrists, and they check for malingering, which is what the faking it. I don't worry about that as much.
Prosecutors also addressed efforts to restore Ramirez to competency. These are outpatient meetings done over video. Dr. Walker noted Ramirez had fair to good attendance. Prosecutors pointed out he missed 4 appointments in May, 2 appointments in June, 2 appointments in July, 2 in August, 2 in September, and 3 in November, all of them in 2023.
He is committed to protecting himself and not taking responsibility for his actions.
After pages and pages representing hours and hours of direct examination, prosecutors asked the doctor one of their final questions. Would you do anything different now during your evaluation process? Dr. Walker admitted she would. There are other things she would have asked Ramirez to understand him. When all is said and done, Dr. Walker's faith in her opinion about Ramirez's competency has decreased, but she insists that, quote, considering everything, I would still come to the opinion that he's incompetent.
It is a sickening position to be in because I do not care about him. I want him to be in a cage where he belongs. But in order to do that, we are forced to advocate for the fact that he is getting inadequate care.
In your opinion, is he gaming the system or is the state's system failing?
Both.
I think both.
But this is no game. The outcome for all these people, Ramirez, Joseph, Billy Joe, and everyone else whose lives changed the night of that crash, rests in the mind of a judge. One who calls decisions like this some of the toughest. One who says, the gravity of my decision does not escape me.
What's concerning is how much the law as it currently stands is going to tie her hands.
We have previously reported on this competency law in Colorado. It took effect last summer. A sponsor of it told us the goal is essentially to prevent mentally ill people from sitting in the state's jails just waiting for their case to go anywhere, instead opening the door to get them treatment. But it's not clear in this case if charges are dropped whether Ramirez would be court-ordered to get any sort of mental health care. The next hearing in this case is tomorrow. There is a chance it gets dismissed, which would mean Ramirez is a free man. Ramirez's attorney denied our request for an interview with either of them. We've got an in-depth explanation of how this competency law works coming up tonight at 6:30. For Denver 7 Investigates, I'm Natalie Chuck.
Natalie, thank you. Excellent reporting on this. And if you missed Natalie's first story last night, you can find it on denver7.com/investigates. You'll hear more from the Bowman family and find an interactive timeline of this case.